So first, in the phone world, 2.5 months is kind of a long time. With phones that only have 12, 13-month life cycle, this phone's been out for a little bit of a while, which is crazy because now you can just finally walk to the Apple Store and get one about 10 weeks later. So I did the initial review. We liked the phone a lot overall. Things that I didn't like about it, I still don't like about it. Starting with that design. I get design is totally subjective. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, no accounting for taste, all those cliches you want to think of. I don't like the way that the phone looks. I feel like Johnny Ive and company, who've really held themselves to super high standards, phoned the design in completely. I don't like the way the antenna bands look on it. And everybody's like, oh, but John, the HTC M8 has antenna bands. You don't say anything about that. I knew it. I knew you're a fanboy. I think that it looks better on the M8 because of the shiny material and sort of the anodized aluminum that you've got on the iPhone. So that's my thought there. Camera hump, still don't like that camera hump. It's a hard thing to accept on a phone that doesn't have optical image stabilization. The lens isn't going in and out. Why does the camera have to be humpy? I don't get it. I feel like it shouldn't be. Bending issues wasn't that big a deal with the iPhone 6, more with the 6 Plus, but in case you're worried, no bending issues at all on this guy. I think that got blown way, way, way out of proportion. So let's talk about battery. Smaller battery in the iPhone 6. When I started using the 6 Plus 2.5 months ago, I like big phones. It was really too big for me. So I thought I would try the iPhone 6. And I started using it pretty regularly, and battery life wasn't as good as I thought it would be. And I want to give a disclaimer. The counterpoint to that is Brendan Russell's been using an iPhone 6 pretty much every day since it came out while he's testing other devices. His battery life has been the complete opposite of mine. His has been really, really good. He doesn't plug his in even every day. But the difference is he doesn't use his phone as much as I do. I keep my brightness around 80%. I'm making hours of phone calls on it, checking, watching video. I'm playing some games on it. A lot of iMessage, text messaging going on. Pretty heavy usage, primarily connected to Wi-Fi here at the office or home. And I have somewhere between 20 or so % battery life by the end of the day, which is cutting it really close for me. Whereas on the 6 Plus, it'd be more on the 40-50% battery life level. So that was a really big issue. So I figure most people are probably going to fall somewhere in between. I think when you first get a phone, you're using it a lot and might be like, oh, battery life is awful, John. I can't use this phone. But then you have it for a couple weeks and start using it less and less. I think people are going to fall in between Brandon and myself. Battery life is about the same as the 5S generation. So if you had a 5S and you get through a whole day, you're going to be fine with this. Lower screen resolution than we've got on the iPhone 6 Plus. Same PPI that we had for previous Retina displays. I always equate phone screens to shopping for TVs. Say you're walking around Best Buy and you see a wall of 10 TVs, ranging from cheap to really expensive, and a variety of resolutions from 720 up to 4K. You see them all together, you're going to notice a really, really big difference in TV sets when you look at them side by side. You pick one of those sets, maybe one somewhere in the middle, take it home. It's going to look good. You're not nothing to compare it to. I think that's the same thing with phone screens. The iPhone 6 screen looks fine. It doesn't look like the best phone screen in the world. It doesn't look like the worst phone screen in the world. It looks like a very serviceable phone screen. And maybe the premium price Apple's charging, it should have a better device. That's sort of going to be up to how you feel Apple's doing on their pricing scheme. But just how it works from an average user, the screen's been fine. Video looks good. Text looks crisp. There's no pixelation you can see with the naked eye. Obviously, things just look decent on it. It's, again, not the best. I think the best mark right now probably goes to Samsung for the screens on the Note 4. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is a good screen. By no means the best, but it hasn't been an issue for me. Speaking of issues, one thing I had with the 5S was really tough time with Touch ID. It just didn't work for me, hardly ever. Not so with the 6 and 6 Plus. Touch ID here is now firing like 90% of the time. It works really, really well. When we first did the review, Apple Pay wasn't out yet. We only knew it was coming. I love the way that works. I think it's a really elegant, pretty solution, which is kind of typical of all the way Apple does things. Might not be the best solution, but it's probably the best looking solution. A lot of places are starting to accept Apple Pay, so I've been using that quite a bit, and I love that it's built in. I wish I could do more with that NFC antenna though, but locked down. Camera, so we talked about not having OIS. It's still pretty good in low light. After the review was done, I didn't really do much with the camera other than post to Facebook, Instagram, and maybe get a couple 5x7s printed out for my grandparents. That was really it. And for that kind of stuff, the camera looks fine. Low light shots still look fine despite OIS. Video still looks fine as long as you're not like doing this with it. They're both very serviceable. I would have loved high megapixel counting here in case you want to blow it up or in case you want to zoom in on a particular area and crop it and print that out. But it's not a deal breaker. You're not getting the best camera phone, but you're not getting the worst, which if you notice is kind of a trend with the iPhone 6. You're not getting the best phone in the world, you're getting a good phone. And for those of you out there that want something that sort of is in the Apple ecosystem, iMessage is important to you, iPhoto is important to you, iCloud is important to you, you're going to want to stay in the iPhone lineup. And this is the least expensive way to get into the most current generation of iPhone devices. You can be pretty happy with it. Speakers, pretty good, not great. Sort of seems to be a theme here. I still really like the way the phone kind of curves around. It feels really nice when you're swiping from side to side. I haven't had the need to put a case on it, haven't dropped it yet, so that's been kind of good. The back isn't wearing as well as I would have liked. Still sort of showing fingerprints and smudges. Not so many scratches, which has been nice. You know, I again haven't dropped it on pavement yet, fortunately. But sort of being in the same pocket with keys, it still looks pretty new. If I cleaned it up and buffered it, you know, I could probably pass it off as like almost brand new. So the moral here is, and I think the same thing goes with the review, it's a really good phone. It's one of the best Apple phones that have ever been made. And if you're the kind of person that wants an Apple phone and wants a current generation phone, you're going to be pretty happy here. If you want the latest cutting edge specs from an Apple device, you want to look toward the 6 Plus. If you want something that's going to work well for a year, 2 years, and again, you want message to Apple's ecosystem, it's again a really solid choice for you to pick up. I don't know if my review score would change at all. I think the experience you get the first day you use an iOS device is kind of similar to the same experience you're going to get, you know, maybe a year later or 2.5 years later, which I guess is a testament to iOS. It's fast, it works quickly. I've never really had any stutter or slowdowns, and that kind of goes back to the very first iPhone. It worked quickly for what was out at the time. I think though, as phones get higher resolution, I think next generation iPhone 6 will probably have a higher res screen. You know, maybe that might be an issue. Maybe we'll start seeing apps get coded for more RAM next generation phones are going to have. But for right now, in this world, at the end of 2014, it's a good phone choice. Just might not be the best one. Okay, guys, what do you think? Do you agree, disagree? Sort of, I still am holding true with most of the points in the initial review. If you want to read Brandon's kind of perspective on the iPhone 6, hit the link down below and go check out his opinion on it. Until next time, I'm John Ranger from Techno Buffalo. See you guys next video. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We love making tech videos here. If you like watching them as much as we love making them and just enjoy playing with the latest consumer electronics gear, check us out. Hit the big subscribe button. We got new videos coming out almost every single day. We also have a channel on Twitch where we play games, sometimes not so well, at twitch.tv/technobuffalo.